Sit! Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss Dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast injury episode. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey, what's going on, Rich?
Dude, we're about to treat this like my sex life, dude. We're about to be in and out super quick. Like it's going to be just bam, done. We don't have a lot to talk about. A miracle.
I know this is one of the best weeks we've had in a long time, so this should theoretically be a short show. So let's just dive into it and get this kind of started so we can get it finished. How about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, just give everybody a heads up, not much to worry about. You know, we thought we jinxed it last week. There be potentially like an ACL tear. Nothing of that happened. The only thing I think we missed, but it didn't break till late. Like obviously Debo got hurt after the fact. And then when George Kittle went down with the hamstring, like literally the day before, it should have made obviously Jawan Jennings a play. And boy, did he erupt.
Yeah, he balled out.
Almost 50 points out there in PPR leagues. God bless America.
And I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, Rashad Jennings had a heck of a day, but the drops over by what's his name? God, why is my brain? Ayuk, yeah, have been kind of puzzling through the first few weeks of the season. Not something we've seen quite a bit out of him. So that's going to be a weird one to kind of monitor going forward, especially as these injuries kind of for the 49ers seem to keep coming up.
Dude, Trent Williams got banged up, but yeah, I mean, I now Ayuk's rich, so that helps the cause. But like also, dude, like that matters. Like, you know, it's hard enough when these guys are going through training camp, right? Like for over 2 months of training camp to get ready for the season, and we see how slow NFL offenses are to start and then get hurt. Just from that, from two months of ramp up with your team, Ayuk missed all of that. Like he had nothing going on. Like you go out there and catch passes from your uncle all you want, and feel like you're juking, your fellow high school teammate that played corner in college or an old college guy. But none of that translates to the NFL. You know, like there's a reason why. You know, it doesn't matter how, like you could be the best prospect ever coming out. Like they still have to acclimate to the speed of the game at the NFL level, right? Like it's a whole different game. The college game and the NFL game are night and day. Like, you know, we talk about all the time. You could take the best kids in college and put them all on the same team and it couldn't be an NFL team. Like it's like, that's just the way it works out here. They're too big. They're too fast, too good of coaching. It's how it all works out. So, that's probably it for them. So it probably makes Jawan Jennings another interesting play this week if Kittle misses out again this week. Remember, this is a player that, you know, anytime somebody misses with multiple injuries, he can come up and play a very solid receiver position. It's why they extended him. It's why he had multiple touchdowns in the Super Bowl. Like he just gets open. Ayuk's going to see all the double coverage there anyway, so just naturally puts him open in the middle. He has the ability to find those soft spots in the zone, which is nice. So Jawan Jennings, a week later here on an injury show after he already blew up. So it's like the no S Sherlock post here. Like, oh yeah, get Jawan Jennings in your lineup. Like, why is that? Like he's like wide receiver, like 4 or 5 already after 1 week of games.
Was it 3 touchdowns? How many touchdowns did he get? I don't remember.
3. He had the hat trick and like 150 yards, scored like 40 something points. And, you know, even going to the tight end spots, like we talked about it, dude, all it takes is like 2 good games. Or like 1 big game from a tight end, they get skyrocketed to the top position. Enter Cole Kmet, enter Dallas Goedert, and they just skyrocket up. Go look at your top 12 list of tight ends right now, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, who are these people?
I mean, I know this is supposed to be an injury show, but this has been one of the weirdest starts to a season I can remember in a long time. As far as just dudes that are supposed to be high level guys just not performing, it seems like I don't know if the offseason needs to be tweaked or something for some of these teams where they're getting these guys ready to go for the start of the season instead of like 4 weeks into the season. Because it does feel like guys still aren't hitting at 100% on all cylinders. So this seems like a very bizarre year.
Yeah, a lot of loose ends at the tight ends position, and welcome to the 2024 year of the running back. Matt, you weren't there for the second show. We kind of talked about it, Garrett. You know, there's 3 receivers averaging 20 points per game. There was like 7 running backs averaging 20 points per game. They're even outpacing the quarterbacks there. So welcome to the year of the running back. But that's for tomorrow's show. You know, we're going to talk all Dynasty tomorrow, which you'll get it on Wednesday and Thursday. But this actually, I think we're recording this on Monday. The show will actually come out on Tuesday because I had a late day today. I had a busy
Okay,
day.
bud. No big deal.
But again, not a lot to talk about. I'm dragging on here. It's supposed to be a short show, but I'm just I haven't seen you in a couple of days. So I like to look at your face and talk to you. So yeah. But we'll do that tomorrow in person. Let's get through the injuries. Where are we at, Matt? Not a very short list. So
very short list. So we'll start at the top. Obviously, Justin Herbert came into this week 3 game with a bum ankle, and it took him about 3 quarters to kind of have that thing flare up and get him removed. It sounds like, they came back, they x-rayed, it's still nothing structurally wrong with it other than the high ankle sprain. He's saying that he wants to play next week. I think the smart move is probably to have him sit out. Taylor Heineke was the quarterback that came in and played, and basically they didn't score any points with him as the starter, and the Chargers lost the game. So I don't know. Any thoughts on this Herbert situation?
Yeah, if you have Herbert, bench him. If you have Taylor Heineke, do the same thing that you do with Herbert. But obviously if you're in super flex and you need, or like not even super 1 QB and he's your only quarterback, you got to start him, then you're going to get him in your lineup kind of is what it is, but definitely not a good play. Wasn't really a great play this week with any, 1 hit away from being out like he did. It's surprised he made 3 quarters, but he is listed day to day. So like most people are going to talk about, nothing to see here.
Yep. All right. So moving on to the next one, Skylar Thompson. Obviously he's in for the injured Tua, comes in, gets a rib injury in the 3rd quarter. He wasn't too effective anyway. That offense kind of looked like a shell of itself. Tim Boyle came in. I thought, basically looked the exact same as Skylar Thompson. There wasn't a big drop off. The big, I think, point in this one is nobody scored double-digit fantasy points on that entire Miami team. So it seems like, I would expect that's a little bit of an anomaly, but I think you do have to kind of downgrade everyone until Tua gets back, in my eyes anyway.
Yeah, Skylar Thompson, you should just Skylar him to the sky because he's useless out there. They acquired, they picked up Tyler Snoop Huntley off the Ravens practice squad. He didn't go in there second. Obviously, he's not ready and acclimated to the offense. I would expect him to hopefully get the start here entering week 4 just because Skylar and Tim Boyle are like just, it's like corn and doo-doo. They go together really well. And they just showcase their stinkiness. And that's what you got with Tim Boyle and Skylar Thompson. Go ahead and flush that down the toilet. If you're in a 1 QB league, you need a quarterback, you're desperate. Snoop Huntley would not be the worst option. Former Pro Bowler Snoop Huntley, super flex, not a bad option there. Say you're in dire straits. You don't have some of the top QBs in the league like Sam Darnold. I get it. Like you're struggling. Huntley might be somebody you can get for literally dirt cheap. Like I don't think Huntley is going to cost you more than a handshake. Late round pick, maybe a backup running back that's a permanently backup. So not a terrible option to go grab him. Matt, if I had to guess, I would expect Snoop Huntley to be the quarterback this week for how hard Skylar Thompson got rocked. Like he got hit so hard, he went back in the game. It was actually like a couple plays later, he just got pulled down. It wasn't even like, he didn't get hit. He just got pulled down. He's like, dude, I'm done. My ribs are scorched. So I would assume he probably has like a broken rib because he got rocked.
I mean, the report came out that it was one of the beat writers or something down there for Miami, and he was like, I would have a hard time believing that Skylar Thompson would be able to play this week. So I'm going to go with that report as well because any sort of rib injury is difficult if it's in the right place. Breathing, any sort of movement, you're going to feel that every single time. So even if he was in there, I would expect him to only last a short while before he takes a hit and is back out of that game. So, I'm also leaning towards Huntley. I mean, you're calling him Snoop Huntley, which I guess he's listed as Tyler Huntley probably in most people's fantasy leagues. So I at least want to
he's definitely listed as Tyler Huntley. But if you want to party, lottie dottie, get Snoop out there.
Right on. So for the time being, I would say this is a downgrade for everyone. Is that pretty accurate on your end too, Rich?
Yes, I'd still hold out faith for Devon Achane, but the proof is in the pudding. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Well, not great, homie. Not great. The dude. But I mean, if Huntley can come out here and perform, and offer some rushing ability, maybe that'll be an uptick. Maybe they'll score 10 points instead of 7.
It's weird. That offense is so predicated on pre-snap motions and kind of being at the right place at the right time. And to bring in a guy, Tyler Huntley, kind of last minute into this offense, that might be difficult for them to operate all the kind of gimmicky stuff that they do before and kind of the motions and all that kind of stuff pre-snap. So I have a hard time believing that they're going to be able to kind of keep their value for the time being. Obviously, anything could happen because they're explosive playmakers. They can take any one play 80 yards and house it and have a good fantasy day. But I think I would just kind of temper my enthusiasm a little bit here with any of the Miami players. So, I mean, and it's already a weird year, like I was saying. So this kind of throws even more of a monkey wrench into some of the high end names, I think, that Miami has.
A lot of nonsense going on there so far. 3 weeks of the season. We got 2 games tonight. We'll see how that plays out. Hopefully nobody gets hurt in those 2 Monday night games. We'll talk about it on the regular show if they do. And then obviously Sam Darnold got the knee bruise. He's good to go. He's going to play this week. And we're talking about quarterback 2, Sam Darnold on the year.
Crazy.
And we're just going to leave it at that because he's on our show sheet for tomorrow. I saw Garrett send the show sheet over. We're going to talk about some Sam Darnold. And I got some things to say. All positive on Sam Darnold here for tomorrow. But he'll be good to go. No worries there. Keep Nick Mullins where he belongs, and that's in the trash can too. Moving on, some wide receivers, Matt. DeVonta Smith nearly decapitated on the NFL field. He got rocked, to say the least. He had 2 people hanging from him.
He got popped, man. His helmet came off. It was instantly, I was like, oh, that's a concussion. And, it was, I was watching Red Zone at the time. So they showed that play and then like immediately cut to a different scene. And I was like, oh, it's gotta be a concussion. And obviously he is in concussion protocol right now. So,
I'm surprised you didn't hear Leroy Jenkins getting screamed from the side before he got popped there. It was insane. He's going out. I mean, and Matt, anytime somebody gets a concussion, they almost 97% of the time miss the following week.
Yeah, that is the normal, I think, MO for that injury. So we'll have to see how he comes back for this. I don't remember him having a history of concussions or anything like that, so we don't have a lot to go on here as far as a baseline for his time, expected to miss here. But the direct backup, I think, or the guy that would benefit most at this point is Jahan Dotson, right? Obviously, the other parts, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley are going to get probably a bump in targets until AJ Brown gets back. But for now, the 1-for-1 wide receiver targets will probably be going to Jahan Dotson, I would imagine.
Yeah, it immediately showed too. Like once it went on, I mean, Dallas Goedert fit the game with 10 catches for 170 yards. Dallas Goedert is somebody who we've loved since the day we saw his tape. And when he first went to Philly, we're like, oh man, he's going where Zach Ertz is. So that kind of kills him a little bit. And then he had that one small period where he wasn't deceased. And then they get DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown. And here we go again. He's like a poor man's George Kittle in aspect. It's hard for him to eat. If you got those 2 stud muffins around him taking up all the oven as they slowly rise to deliciousness. But with none of those guys on the field, he's the best weapon they have in the receiving game. He's better than Jahan Dotson. He's better than Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson. We might as well talk about Britton Covey. He got hurt too. He's got the shoulder injury. So, your starting receiving corps to be Jahan Dotson, Paris Campbell, and Johnny Wilson for the Philadelphia Eagles. But the number 1 target, don't be fooled, will be Dallas Goedert. Go ahead and get him in your lineup. Expect him to have another big week this week as well. And because we have maybe AJ Brown is back this week though. So we'll see. I still would expect it to be Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown.
AJ Brown's been out since the 13th. That's when he hurt his hamstring. So we're coming up on 10 days. We'll see how bad that hamstring actually was. We don't really know. Right. So that'd be great if he came back. I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles would love that. And as somebody that has AJ Brown, I would love to see him back in the lineup as well. I've been kind of bummed to start the season.
Yes, sir. So next on the list is Adam Thielen. He got a hamstring injury with that sweet touchdown catch. He went full extension.
Sweet catch, man. And you knew immediately when he was laying on the ground, kind of fidgeting and moving kind of funny, and he wasn't getting up, that something was wrong. And no one knew exactly what it was. And then he grabs the back of his leg. Hopefully it is just a hamstring strain and not like a full tear or anything like that.
He walked
But
off.
he walked off. He very gingerly walked off, I would say, for a hamstring.
Yeah, but usually if you tear your hamstring, like you gotta get a card out for like you can't even move when you're like that pops off the bone. You tear that, you can't move. So that was optimistic to me because when it first went down, I was like, dude, what is like? I tried to watch the replays. Like, did his knee go down wrong? But like, because he was grabbing the back of his hamstring right away. I was like, what is this, his knee? Like, he on that one leg. But that was a sweet catch. Red rifle, Andy Dalton comes out, and literally, I talk about DeVonta Smith getting executed. He just came in and just karate chopped Bryce Young right in the neck. He's like, bam! Dave Canales knows what he's doing. You're on the bench. Don't plan on coming back. This offense can be executed. Great news for, obviously, Deontay Johnson shares because he comes out and has a 100-catch game. And then, obviously, for the Adam Thielen.
100 catch game? Is that what you just said?
A 10 catch, 100. Yeah, might as well been. I don't know. I was so excited. It seemed like this is a catch for you. Everybody's out there catching footballs for Carolina. I'm like, what team is this? Like, look at this. Oh, poor Bryce Young. But obviously, Jonathan Mingo and Xavier Legette will get the fair lion's share here. Adam Thielen out. I'd like to see some Legette action. It's not like that dude's getting any younger out there. So over Jonathan Mingo. So we'll see how that plays out. But those are two guys to pay attention to. I wouldn't want to get either of those guys in my lineup right away. If you had to pick one, Matt, who would it be? Well, that's a dumb question asking you. You love it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be Legette for me. I think he offers just more big play possibilities. And Andy Dalton is a guy that knows how to get the ball to guys. So, I mean, I had a lot of trepidation about Bryce Young and his kind of ability to do that kind of stuff. And now, I mean, I think this past weekend, Legette had a couple catches, 42 yards. I would imagine that number, if Thielen's out for an extended period of time, which I would imagine he's out 2 or 3 weeks at least. This is a good time for him to kind of get his target share to kind of go up and the quality of those targets to go up as well. From his kind of week one where he had some nice stuff happen towards the end of that game. I would imagine this is kind of another nice 2 to 3 week window where we get to see, hey, Legette, what kind of possibilities do we have with this guy? So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I don't know that I'm firing him up, put him in my lineup next week, but we'll see how it goes. If Andy Dalton is out there making passes all over the place again, maybe he becomes a startable asset.
Yeah, he looked unbelievable. Andy Dolphin looked absolutely unbelievable. Look, this is all like a test week because bye weeks are coming up after this, and we have to be prepared to start putting some guys in your lineup that you might not necessarily want to put in your lineup. So you have to know who's viable, who's not. So Jonathan Mingo, Xavier Legette, Tank Dell hurt his hand, wrist. Demeco Ryan said he should be fine after the game. If he's not, it'll be John Mechie and Robert Woods out there. And then look at tight ends, Matt. We had a big scare. Sam LaPorta went out on the cart, came back out afterwards, and it sounds like he just has a minor ankle sprain. So that's good news. Like, if worst case, he might miss just a week. You'd fill in Brock Wright, but not really, because it'd really just be Jamison Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, I would imagine
Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I would imagine Amon-Ra kind of eats in Sam Laporta's absence, and they made it sound like some of the stuff I was digging. They said that the people on Twitter thought it was like that. We're watching the videos, all that kind of good stuff. Thought it was a low ankle sprain. We'll see. Obviously, the low ankle sprain is the better of the two. So hopefully it is just one of those short-term things. Only time will tell. They don't have to report this stuff until Wednesday, so we'll see when they announce that. Obviously, a high ankle sprain would be bad, and he would miss 2 to 4 weeks or something like that. But hopefully it's just this low ankle sprain, and we can move on from it.
Yep. Brock Wright will be his replacement. And then finally, Trey McBride, his replacement there is Elijah Higgins. Possible concussion. He did big hit. Like, he laid the defender out like big time. He got right up. Well, not right up. He got up pretty quickly. Took off his helmet. It seemed like he was okay, but we'll have to see if he has a concussion.
Right. So that one's kind of just up in the air. And I just wanted to mention it since there wasn't a lot of other action. I figured anything that kind of looked like an injury, I was going to throw on here.
Well, coming from a guy who had a very busy day today, I appreciate an injury show where it's very quick and very unuseful. But if you stuck with us, we love you. And thanks for listening. And hopefully we'll have the same show next week with even less. If that's the case, I'll have more time to prepare for more dumb stuff to stay. But until then, stay smarter than me, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Adios.